Howdy, folks. I'm Brian,
I'm Amber.
and here's some Reddit. Our first story is titled, Am I a Jerk for Yelling at My Fiance and Calling Him Insecure After He Deleted My Work Project to Get Back at Me for Not Going with Him to His Friend's Birthday Party? Alright, folks. We're in for a wild one. There's a few wild ones today, so stay tuned for those. My fiance's best friend's birthday party was yesterday. My fiance wanted me to go with him, but I apologized and said I couldn't because I had to finish a work project in the evening and barely had time. He said it was unacceptable since the party was held at a prestigious restaurant and all of his friends were going to bring their partners. He insisted that I go with him, but I told him that if I don't complete this project soon, I'll lose the potential promotion next week, and someone else will take my place. He just looked at me and said, "Well, I hope it'll be worth it," and then walked out. I called him, but he hung up. I got done with my project and went to take a shower. I got out and found him in the living room refusing to speak to me after I asked about the party. I went upstairs to finalize my project, but I found out that my entire work laptop has been reset. Everything got wiped, including my project. My heart sank, and I asked my fiance if he was behind this, and he just looked at me and said that now we are even, after I refused to come with him to the party and embarrassed him by forcing him to go alone and get weird looks and questions from everyone. I started yelling at him and called him insecure to care about his public image and looks and even getting even just because I had to work. He said that I contributed to this outcome and I should have just gone with him. Now I had to start all over again. We started exchanging words and he told me to stop saying that he's insecure and petty. He checked into a hotel and has been staying there constantly texting about how hurt he was that he had to hear me call him insecure and refusing to have any consideration for him. Well, OP, I'm gonna say something. He is insecure and petty. He said that I did make him look bad when I refused to come with him, and he was hurt by that. Our ongoing argument is that I keep saying that just because we're a couple, then I have to attend every event with him, while he keeps saying that it's classless and socially unacceptable when I let him attend alone unless I was sick or traveling. Alright folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk, dump him.
Before you do anything, I would take your computer to your IT department and see if they can recover your lost data. Or, if this is your personal laptop, then you can send your laptop out to actually get data recovered. It's going to cost a lot of money, especially if you want it done very quickly. I would get that data recovered and then sue him and get him to pay for it. That's really what you need to do here. He acted very petty, very immature to do this to you. There was no reason for him to do this. If he doesn't like the fact that you're prioritizing work over him, then that's a legitimate boundary to set. But getting even with someone over that is completely unacceptable. It's just not a good relationship coping mechanism at all. And it really shows that he's not a good person to be on the bad side of, and I would really take that into consideration here, and I would not continue dating this man. He does not seem like he is the kind of person who you really want to build a life with, especially if they're going to sabotage you like this. You don't want to be with someone who's actively going to sabotage you instead of support you. That's just my opinion. So, anyhow, take care and good luck. You spelled ex-fiance incorrectly. Also, you're not the jerk. This, but also, how exactly did you reset your laptop? Did you check the recycle bin? I'm going to leave this here too, and it looks like it's probably a link to some kind of data recovery. Edit, for people who keep saying that you can't restore files if you factory reset it, you can, but you need software to do it, and most companies don't want you downloading third-party software to handle company information. It's one of those, if you have to ask, or in over your head, and probably shouldn't, and should take it to your company IT department to handle. Yeah, exactly. IT department's gonna know how to handle this. Absolutely OP, obviously you're not the jerk, and I hope your fiance becomes your ex-fiance very quickly. Not even mentioning how incredibly controlling his behavior is. You don't want to come with me to a random birthday party, have fun not getting a promotion even though you probably deserve it. Leave him behind. Yeah, dump him. Our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for letting my wife have her bank account constantly overdrawn when I'm in the black? Throwaway account for obvious reasons. Wife states that I'm the jerk because she has no money to buy anything to eat because she was over her overdraft limit. She says that I'm in the wrong and my account is in credit, although she doesn't know by how much, while she struggles with bills and buying things that my daughter needs. We've been together for 18 years and have a 13-year-old daughter. Our finances have never been combined, although she has always wanted this. I accept that she can only work part-time because she's caring for her terminally ill mother and because she does all of the childcare for our daughter, although I feel like she could work full-time and get childcare. And although she pays for a few of the major bills, she says that I'm the jerk because it's me who buys the food and I didn't check if there was enough stuff there for both of them before I went to work. I feel if she knew that she needs some stuff, she should have told me, but she says it's humiliating and calls me a slave owner who is deluded that he is kind and benevolent. I take her and my daughter out for dinner once a week and they can choose anything they want, but my wife throws this up in my face and says that she doesn't have the freedom to take even herself out and is reliant on my charity. She is now saying that she wants to leave me because all of her friends go on trips with friends and or their partners, but she doesn't have the money to go anywhere and I don't take her anywhere. I go out every Saturday night and I leave her to do the babysitting. We have adult fun time about 3 times a year for the last 15 to 16 years, and she would like more, although it's something that we both enjoy when I'm in the mood. I feel this is not the issue that she makes it out to be. I I love how he's like, oh, I'm really sure this is not an issue. It is, if she says it's an issue. Her main point is that I'm the jerk for not giving her access to money without questions when she needs it via a joint bank account or combined incomes, then half of what is left after bills. She has no hobbies except for saving animals, spending time with her sisters, cooking, and doing crafts for our daughter. She doesn't drink or smoke, and I do both, but I work hard 5 days a week, and I know the value of good quality things. I bought my daughter expensive new shoes last week when I was buying myself new shoes, and I bought my wife new shoes for her work too. She's a nurse. But my wife says that because she buys all of our daughter's Christmas and birthday gifts, then she feels entitled to these things from me as their essentials. She could work full time and afford anything she wants, and I guess there's some resentment from me. She told me that she would like to go back to full time when our daughter went to school, but only went back full time when our daughter was 11, and then only for a year because she's now back to part time because she's caring for her dying mother. All right, folks, what do you think about this one? Jerk or not the jerk?
Huge jerk. Giant jerk.
Well, first and foremost, OP, if you're going to take the responsibility for buying food, then you need to make sure there's food for everyone all the time, especially when your wife is kind of cash strapped like this. Next, also, it's okay to split finances. However, this feels more like roommates just from the way you've described it and less like you're actually a married couple. And the way you talk about like, oh, she could hire someone to take care of your daughter while she was going to work makes it sound like you would not actually contribute towards childcare if your wife went to work full time, and that you view the childcare responsibilities as solely her responsibility and any finances incurred in there. So that's the way this comes across. I don't know if that's what you intended. You can have a joint account and still have separate finances, OP, and it sounds like if she has a problem asking you for money, then it's probably because you've lorded this over her head before in the past. And just from the way that you've written things out, it sounds like that is probably the case. And that you, whenever she wants to buy something, you have to question it and are like, well, why do you need this? Why do you need that? So I don't know. That's just the way it sounds like coming from your own words. And then next, you also mentioned that you work hard 5 days a week. And you say that she could work full-time, but is choosing not to. However, I would argue, OP, that she is working full-time. She's just not being paid for all of it. She's literally taking care of her dying mother and also part-time taking care of your daughter. It doesn't sound like you do any kind of care towards the daughter whatsoever by your own admission. You say in this letter that she does all of the childcare. So that I would say qualifies as full-time levels of work, if I may say so myself.
Plus nursing.
Plus nursing. And then you say that she doesn't really have any hobbies. And then you kind of insinuate that she doesn't appreciate the finer things in life. Well, maybe, OP, maybe she would appreciate the finer things in life if she actually had money to enjoy them. And it's almost dripping with disdain. You're like, well, she doesn't appreciate the finer things in life, therefore she doesn't deserve the finer things in life. So I think that it comes across as really condescending. And lastly, OP, I would consider the situation very, very deeply here. If she divorces you, there's a good chance that you're going to end up paying alimony, right? If that's the case, then you are going to end up paying her whether you want to or not, right? Your finances are going to be reduced and go more towards her than what you are right now. So it sounds like, honestly, from everything you said, she would be better off if she divorced you and actually took alimony from you. So I don't think you're painting yourself well in this situation, and I don't think you're doing yourself any favors here. And it just really comes across as this whole situation seems like financial abuse. It really does. I don't know all the deeper details of this, but it really does sound that way. So I just think that you're the jerk in this situation, OP. I think that you really need to reevaluate about how the household finances are divided up and make it a little more equitable for your wife, who is very clearly doing a lot of work here to keep your household afloat. So anyhow, take care and good luck. You're the jerk. I'm not even going to point to one thing, just all of it. You're gross.
Yeah.
Right. This is so genuinely upsetting the more you read. Absolutely terrible way to treat anyone, let alone your wife. I work hard 5 days a week, and I know the value of good quality things. This 100% convinced me that he's the jerk. He's implying that she doesn't work hard and doesn't appreciate nice things, when it absolutely does sound like she works hard, does all the childcare, and I'm assuming all the household care and elder care, and works on top of that. Oh yeah, I forgot about the chores, the chore distribution. I would imagine that he doesn't even mention that, so probably she's doing most of that, if not all of it. All right, folks, it is tea time. Hopefully you've grabbed your cups of tea and you're ready. I know I have.
I have mint tea here.
I'll let you guess what kind of tea I have, and we'll tell a joke. Why did the chicken stop in the middle of the street? She wanted to lay it on the line. No! Why, Book? Why? Why? I have licorice spice tea. Amber knew I had licorice spice because she's a cheater and can smell it.
That's cheating, having a nose.
Why? We should tell Amber that she's not allowed to have a nose anymore. No noses for Amber.
I like my nose. I will keep it.
All right. Our next letter is titled, "Am I a jerk for dropping him off and his daughter off at the rental car place states away from home?" Long story short, I'm a 27-year-old female, and I started seeing a 44-year-old Dave 3 years ago. I have 2 sons, 9 and 6, and he has 1 daughter, Anne, 17. I booked a road trip for me and my sons roughly 3 months ago. A road trip consisting roughly of 26 hours worth of driving with stops in between. This is the first time I've ever been financially able to do much of anything with my children, so I went all out. I planned to stop at every place they had ever asked me to go, basically. I was beyond excited to surprise them with this trip, and we got home 4 nights ago. Well, a week before leaving, Dave decided that he wanted to go with me and to bring Anne as a bonding experience. We do not live together, and Anne has never liked me because I'm boring. She has said this to my face. So Dave thinks this will be good. I really didn't want to have either of them to go, but I thought, why not? This could be good for both of us. Boy, was I wrong. From the moment that Anne got into my vehicle, she started complaining about absolutely everything. It was too crowded, too loud, we were taking too many stops, the boys were too annoying, and needed to quiet down and chill out. Well, we get a hotel 9 hours into Pennsylvania, around 3 p.m. at this point. Dave asks if he can take a drive with Anne because she was getting irritated with the kids. I told him he could if he makes it quick because I needed to get dinner supplies. 3 hours later, he shows back up. Him and Anne went out to eat. So I make a comment saying, "You didn't think that we wanted to eat too?" And Anne snaps back with, "I don't think we asked. After comments like this for days, I finally snapped. My boys are now saying that they just want to go home because several times Dave told my kids to be quiet because of his kids' comfortability. At this point, I haven't done anything with my kids because the queen would have a fit if we pulled off anywhere, and Dave at this point basically refused to let me drive despite me arguing in my car, so I snapped. I told him to pull over. When he finally does, I drive to the nearest car rental and I tell them to get out of my car. Dave and Ann both start flipping out. Ann says she isn't going to get into a car that has bed bugs. Dave says saying that he doesn't want to take separate vehicles and didn't have enough money for a rental because the queen spent over $1,500 in 4 days. That is a lot of money. So I said, I don't believe I asked, and I take off. They were close to 800 miles from home. It took them 4 days to get home due to a lack of money and needing to borrow. And I'm being told that I'm a selfish person. Am I the jerk? All right, folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Mostly not the jerk.
So yeah, this one is a little bit hard, and I think everyone's a jerk in this situation, but more so, absolutely more so Dave and his daughter. Like, the both of them are just absolutely abysmally behaved in this situation. It feels like Dave kind of wanted a free vacation and thought he could just push you around, OP. And he wasn't planning on going at first, it sounds like, but then he changed his mind the last minute and forced his 17-year-old daughter to go with you. And that seems like a really big mistake. And I will note at this point in time that OP is actually closer to the age of Anne than Dave, and that might be a contributing factor as to why Anne doesn't like her. I mean, just kind of a wild guess. It might feel like Anne does not respect OP because of how much older she is than Anne. So I think that there's some dynamics going on here that just aren't good. I also think it was really poor form for Dave to try and take over this trip, and especially when they went out to dinner. And even after you told them that it needed to be a short trip, they went away for 3 hours. And then we're like, oh yeah, by the way, we didn't want you along anyways for dinner, even though you were the one who was basically supplying them with this free trip. So, and I know it wasn't free for Dave because he spent $1,500 on his daughter, but that is not your problem. That is Dave's problem. So where I think you cross the line, OP, is the fact that you stranded Dave. Yes, he was obnoxious, and yes, his daughter was obnoxious too, but there were a couple things you could have done here. You could have brought them to a bus station and given them enough money to get a bus home. You could have given them enough money to rent a car. I think that abandoning them without resources like that was really in poor taste. But I think all the things that Dave did in this situation far outweigh what you did. Not that there are like 2 wrongs make a right. So anyhow, take care and good luck. Not the jerk, time to stop seeing Dave. They should have thought about their behavior before hijacking your trip and being rude to both of you and your boys. I hope the rest of the trip was enjoyable with your boys. And OP replies, it was fantastic without them. Oh, poor OP. I really feel bad for OP having their trip ruined like this. Alright folks, that's all the time we have for today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, consider giving me a like. And if you didn't, consider giving me a dislike. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all not tomorrow. On Monday.
Bye.
And next week is March 25th, by the way. So be ready for that.
Bye.